Hi everyone, hope you're good and well. My name is Dan and I'm here to show you another Power Apps video. So we carry on with the project today that we carried on the previous two videos, but today we're going to focus on two things. One is quick create forms and the second is business rules. So quick create forms are where you want to add, say you have a lookup. So for example, if we go back to our working application here and say want to add a new, we have yourself over here, here we go. Say you want to add a new guest. Now when we click new, it will take us to a new form, but because we're using a table that already exists, it already has created a new form, and for a guest it's got first name, last name, but also job title, account name, maybe things we don't want to include, details as well. And so maybe this is, if we just want to do a quick booking, this may be taking up too much time, so I'll go through a quick create form, and then in second we will go through a business rules. Now when would we use business rules? So for example, if we want to put in a check-in date and of, let's say, in the future, and then a checkout date in the past. So here we're using month, day, year. So we're checking in on the 16th of July, but checking out on the 6th of July of the same year. That doesn't make any sense. So we want to add in some logic where we can stop this booking from happening and the error appear. We can do this a number of ways, but I think of one of the easiest ways out of box is with a business rule. So we'll go through that later on. So the first thing I'll do is that we'll create a quick create form. So I'm going to go on a new tab. Let's go to make.powerapps.com. Go to our solution, and here is our solution. So you have our tables here. So the first thing you need to check actually for quick create forms, I think there's something which should be relatively straightforward in Power Apps, but it just isn't. There's a few things you need to do before the application will allow you to create one. The first one is if we go to properties and then advanced options, there should be so this is already ticked, but you'll see this option, leverage quick create form if available. So yeah, simpler experience on pages where it's available. So you have to make sure this is ticked and then go save. It takes a few seconds, and the next thing we're going to do is actually create the quick create form itself. So if we go to form, so at the moment, because we've not used any forms in the solution here, we have like a main form. Let's import the main form. We do have a quick create form that's already available, but I think we'll create one for this solution. So I'll add the main form, which is the big form, which I showed earlier. But you see here, there's no quick create form. Usually there won't actually be a quick create form if you're creating a table from scratch. So to create a new quick create form, we go new form, and then we want quick create form, and it's quick create form and not quick view form. So quick create form is optimized for adding new records quickly where only essential fields are required, and it appears in a side panel, where a quick view form appears inside the main form, displaying read-only data referencing a lookup column. So a quick view form, if we go back to our room booking here. So this is one I made earlier. You go bookings, and then choose any booking. You'll see here this is a quick view form. So if we change, for example, the room, well, in this case we've locked it, but let's say the actual input here is room 1, and then this is giving us the read-only fields for that lookup. So this is a quick view form. We won't go too much in that today. Well, I've pretty much explained what it is already, but yes, it is. Don't get those two confused. So let's call this hotel quick create form. No description. Won't need any AI generated columns. And then I think we'll just add, if I zoom in a bit, here we go. So you see it automatically comes up with 3 sections. Let's hide 2 of these sections. We had a label called guest, and I think we'll just want their name. You see here there's lots of forms for names. Let's say first name, last name, and then email here. And don't forget there's a lot of email fields which are already created in the contact table, so remember when you're referencing this later on to use the right one. So here we have quick create guest, first name, last name, email, and I think that's okay. So now save and publish. So while that's publishing, there's one more thing that we need to do, which often catches people out, and that is to go back to our application. So this is our current application form for the guests, and then we need to add this to our application. So if we go guest add, we don't need to show navigation, but we can do. And now it's saying something went wrong. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe because there's no it's okay. And then we have here views, that's okay for now. And then forms, we have to make sure that the quick create form is there. Hotel quick create form. So let's save and publish. And then the last, well, there's a couple of things we should check as well. So if we go to the bookings form, and we have here and we edit our form. We have to make sure there's an option here. Make sure this use main form dialog for create is unticked. So that could be one reason why the quick create form isn't working. So that's unticked, so that's fine. And then let's go back to the solution. Back to, let's say, our guest forms. You see here the quick create form has appeared, and then if we go to form settings, you'll see here the form order as well. So we want to make sure that quick create form, let's put this on top. So hotel quick create form, we want that first. So go through these forms in order which they appear, and then fallback forms, that's okay. I would just get rid of that as well. It's good to have only one fallback form, so it forces the quick create form to be created. and then save and publish. Let's close this down. Yep, close that down. Close that down and go back to our application. Edit in new tab. Let's see if this goes through here. So if we go new, it may not always work. So if we go new, you'll see here the quick create form has now appeared. So yeah, we're not using the big form now. If we just want to narrow it down to 3 fields, we can do that here. So that's all working fine. So that's quick create forms. Just do that again. Make sure my head, yeah, my head's almost in the way. Let's move my head. Yeah, you can see it there now. Awesome. Great. So now let's go to our bookings form, and now we're going to work on business rules. So there's a few business rules I want to add here. So let's just say for the we have here check in date and check out date. So the first business rule I want to say is make sure the check in date is before the check out date. If those dates are the same, or the checkout date is before the check in date, then raise an error and don't save the form. So that's the first business rule we're going to have. The second business rule I'm going to say is if we added a new column, which is total paid. So I'm going to say that make this total paid value set to 0 if it's blank. So when you save a new record, it will default so that the total paid value is 0. And the third thing I want to do is we have this option, disabled access required. So I added a new column, which was, where is it? I think it's somewhere here, disabled request. Right, that here, disabled request. So if disabled access is required, show this disabled request column and make it a compulsory field. So these are a good example of how we can use our business rules to add logic to our forms. So that's cool. So let's go save and publish. So let's do the first one now, which is let's say the check-in dates before check-out. So let's go X out of there. Let's go back to our solution. So for business rules, we can go to booking here on the hierarchy, and then we can just go business rules, and we can just add new business rule. But I probably need to move my head again. So you see here we have a condition here. So a lot of business rules are like, if condition is, then do this, else do something else. So condition, we have here new condition. Let's put it, new condition can be check in before check out. So source entity just means the table name. So we have entity, so the field booking reference, that don't really matter. Let's have here check in date is less than field check out date. Or actually we'll do it the other way around. If check out date is less than or equal to field check in date. So you see here the type of operations that we have. So we have our entity, which is table name. We can choose what fields we want to use for our logic. Operator, so it's either on, not on, contains data, does not contain data, less than or equal to, or equals, does not equal. And then it can either be a field, a value, we just choose a value, or some sort of formula which involves a field and a value. But for now, for this particular one, we'll do a field. And then value is check in date. Click that. Why is that there? Check in date. And then this is our condition expression here. Check out date is less than or equal to check in date. So if check out date is less than or equal to check in date, then we want to do some rows in error. So this one be like show error message. So we can add it. So here we have the condition, and this is if that condition is true, then we want it to show an error message. So now display name, new action. Let's just say check in before check. Let's say dates error. Error message can be on check in date. We can say check in date must be before check out date. We then click apply, and then you see here we have a business rule text view which explains what we did in text. So if check out date is less than or equal to check in date, then we can show this error message against the field check in date. Then we should change our business rule name, so we can have dates check. Description we'll leave for now, and then we'll click on the save the rule. It will process. And then this arrow here will activate the rule. We have to make sure that the rule is active. So it's validated everything is okay. Process, are you sure you want to activate this process? Go activate. It takes a little while because you can probably tell from UI it's a little bit old, but now that's all active, so activated. So we can X out of that tab, go done, and we should see the business rule appear in our solution here. So I think actually if we go back to the application and then go a new tab, and we'll publish our changes so far. And then go play. So if we want to do a new booking, you'll see here, well, the errors sort of come up already. I don't think we want it to come up already. We want to make sure that there's data in there first. So actually, let's go back to our business rule. So go back to the solution, business rules, dates check, edit. So condition, and we can add a new rule here. So let's say, because we've already made the fields required, we don't need to worry if they're blank or not, because it won't save anyway. But for the case of the rule, we should add some rule where only activate the rule if neither of the fields are blank. So if we do new rule, well, first we have to deactivate the rule. Yep, and then add a new rule. So you have rule 1 here, which is our same rule, and then rule 2. That should be entity. Let's say check in date. So instead of equals, we'll do contains data. Make it an and then we'll add another rule. So have rule 1, checkout date less than check-in date. Rule 2, check-in date contains data. Rule 3, field checkout date contains data. Make that all and we'll see here is our condition expression. So checkout date is less than or equal to check-in date, and check-in date contains data, and checkout date contains data. I think that's all good. Let's click apply. So that's applied it there. Let's save. And then activate the rule. Activate. Awesome. Now if we do it again, that's better. The error doesn't come up, but if we choose, let's now choose a date, 15th, and then 13. Now the error comes up only when we have values for both fields. Check-in date. Check-in date must be for checkout date. And if we try to save, it won't let us save. Well, we've got a primary guest field in as well. Let's just add in these numbers. Add in the required fields. If we go to save, again, it won't let us save. It'll come with a notification at the top there. So that's good. So that's one business rule down. Let's add another business rule now. So let's do one for new business rule. Let's say if, so for booking, we're going to say if the total paid is total paid does not contain data, apply. We're going to give it a value. So we can set the field value. So here we have a few actions. So have our condition and then our actions. So we can do recommendations. We can lock or unlock fields. We can show error messages as we did before. This one we're going to set field value. So we set our field value. We're going to set our field value, which would be total paid, and we'll set that as 0 and then apply. Again, we can change this arrow down here. We'll change this business rule to default total paid. Save, and then activate the rule. Activate. So let's go back now to our booking. So we have here total paid. Here is blank. If we change, let's now change our check-in and checkout dates. So our checkout date is now in the future. That error goes away. Now if we click save, now the total paid has now appeared as $0, which is exactly what we wanted. So this is kind of a good business rule to have, because sometimes if you're working with values, when we work with flows and more complicated things, having a blank can cause a lot of errors. So if we can remove those blanks to zeros where it's logical, makes sense, that'll make everything work a lot smoother. Awesome. Now we're gonna we have disable request here, and that's visible. I don't want that visible. So let's go back to our form, we can edit it here. So let's make this disable request form. Let's hide it and then save and publish. And then let's add another business rule. So this one, we have two business rules, they're both working. Let's add another business rule. This one we'll call here disabled info. So for this one, the condition is if disabled access required equals true, apply. Then let's add set visibility. Add that here, set visibility. We call this make visible. We'll make disabled request yes, we want it to be visible, so let's apply that there. So now they're seeing the disabled request field, so the information around what the disability is and what adjustments need to be made, that field can be made visible. And then if we add a set business required, let's add it here as well. So we call this action make business required, and we can say disable request is business required. We can apply that as well. And then maybe if we can add sort of a recommendation action to the business rule as well. So let's see what that looks like. Recommendation. So we'll leave it as disabled text. So make this field disabled request. Let's say we make the title request details, and then the details can be please note down what adjustments we can make to make your stay here more enjoyable. Apply. That's everything now. So now we can, yep, that's all there. So now we can save that. Oh, 2 errors found in the process. What are the errors? Errors. Actions. I haven't put out a field. I haven't put out a value. Request. You can make that like let's make a request like ground floor access. Apply. We're putting like a default. So effectively putting in like a default value there. Now validation has been successful. Now it's active. So let's save and activate the rule. Activate. Let's see if this works. So now let's refresh this form. This booking 003. Let's put my header over here. Yep, so let's change this to disable access required. Go yes. Now you see the form has appeared. It's now business required. and now we have recommendations. So here is the what adjustments we can make to make your stay more enjoyable. And if we apply it, let's say ground floor access, we don't necessarily have to apply ground floor access here as well. It can be anything else, but that's just sort of demonstrating what we can do. We can add recommendations, and then the user can just apply something based on those recommendations as well. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'll save that booking. That's all good. And that's great. So that's everything we wanted to go through today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.